Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how to understand adjectives. We're going to be looking at a keyword class and how it applies to your writing. So this video has been designed for anyone that is studying either level 1 or level 2 functional skills English. If you also study ESOL, this will be important as well. If you haven't done so already, please can you like and subscribe, it really does help us out when you do so. So the first thing we're going to think about is what are adjectives. I want you to have a look at the following words and identify the word class for each one. So you have words like clever, angry, Staffordshire, internet, large, happy, and slowly, gradually, and that's it. So if you're not sure what we mean when we're talking about word class, this refers to the function of a word. So are they a verb, an adverb, a noun, or an adjective? So what I'd like to do here is just spend a bit of time, pause the video if you need to, and see if you can identify first of all which ones are the adjectives, and if you can, try and figure out what other word classes might be represented by the words on the screen. Class feedback. Check your answers against the ones below. So on our left hand side then we have our word class, and on the right hand side we have our keywords as well. It's also important to think about as we go through them to try and stretch and challenge yourself. So what word class hasn't been included in the table? So first of all then, if we look at adjectives, we've got words like clever, angry, happy, and large. If you're not too sure what we mean by adjectives, these are words that are used to describe a noun. Next we have nouns. So these are a person, a place, or an object or a thing. You also have abstract nouns, which are a little bit more complicated, which we'll go into in more depth in the next video. We have for our nouns then, Staffordshire and internet. So both of these are physical things, although slightly different in their ways that have been described. And then finally we've got adverbs. You've got words like slowly and gradually. And you know that they're adverbs because they end in ly. The function of these generally are to describe the action of a verb. Okay, so if we think about a word like run, run quickly, quickly would be the adverb for that one. Okay, so if you're not too sure, we should have 4 word classes or 4 main word classes, and the ones you haven't identified there would be verbs. By the end of the video, you'll be able to recall the 4 main types of word class, understand the importance of adjectives in your writing, and then finally, apply your understanding to write an exam response. All of this is geared towards getting you ready for either the level 1 or level 2 writing assessment, which can often be the trickiest part of the functional skills course. Look at the table below to familiarise yourself with the different types of word class. So first of all then, we have verbs. If you're not too sure still what we mean by this, here's the definition. So a verb is a word that indicates a physical action. So run, walk, sleep, talk, all of these would be classed as verbs. Adverbs, so these two kind of go hand in hand, they add to the verb. So an adverb is a word that modifies a verb and explains how something is done. Then you have nouns. So a noun is a word for a person, a place, or an object. And then finally, you've got adjectives, the most important one that we're going to focus on in this video. So an adjective is a word that describes a noun. This is the most important word class in functional skills because it will really help you to convey the tone of your writing. So choosing the most appropriate adjective is going to be a really important skill when you attempt the writing assessment. Full grade and response. Look at the response to a writing question and attempt the challenges that follow. So a little bit different from how we normally do it. What we've got here is we've actually got a response without knowing the actual question that the student was given. So as I read through it, the first thing I'd like you to think about is, can you figure out what question they might have been given for the response to be put in this way? So it says then, one of the biggest problems I've encountered as a parent is dealing with schools and taking my children on holiday. Being a parent is expensive, from buying clothes, toys, and paying for all the school trips. Many parents feel bad and sad all the time. To make matters worse, when summer rolls around, we look in sadness only to find that holidays have not only doubled, but in some cases have tripled in cost. Let me get straight to the point. One of the biggest problems I face as a parent is dealing with the cost of a family holiday. So if you want to pause the video here and go through the extracts in your own time, please feel free to do so. We're now going to jump ahead and look at a few comprehension questions related to the response that we've just read through. Now we've read the actual extract, we're going to have a look at a few questions just to test our understanding. So the first one then would be, can you use the response to work out what writing question the learner was given? Number 2, look at the line, many parents feel bad and sad all the time. Replace the low-level adjectives to make the writing reflect the tone of the question. So think about those words sad and bad. They're not really the most effective words that you could use. What would be the more effective words that you could replace with those with? Number 3, why does the student use the line, let me get straight to the point? And what effect has this had when we read it? Number 4, look at the line, when summer rolls around, we look in sadness. Replace the word sadness with another suitable adjective that begins with the letter D. Number 5, identify where the learner has used a triplet or a group of 3. And our final question, number 6, what could the student write about in the next paragraph? Try and come up with 2 to 3 ideas to carry the response forward. Class feedback. Check your answers against the ones below. So for number 1 then, the question the learner was given was write a narrative to describe a difficult situation you have overcome. Now that might seem quite confusing given the text that we've just read because he didn't kind of speak about a difficulty as a parent. So a lot of people may assume that the question will be relating to the role of a parent. However, you have to realise that in functional skills, not everybody sitting the course or doing the exam is in fact going to be a parent. So the questions are going to be fairly generic, and we can see this is quite a generic open question that is open to a lot of different interpretation. So a difficult situation that we've overcome. When this learner wrote it, it was coming up to summertime last year, and they were clearly worried about the kind of implications of taking their child out of school during the summer months and the effect that that would have. Number 2, so answers may include but are not limited to stressed and anxious. So if he's talking about the difficulties as parents, try and think about the very best adjective to describe the situation that he's talking about there. Number 3, the student has used this because it allows them to use a colon and list the purpose of the writing. So if you've been watching our previous videos, you'll know we've talked about things like the punctuation pyramid, and things like a colon would be on the lower list of the punctuation pyramid. So just using a colon in your writing is going to allow the examiner to know that you're using a range of effective punctuation, and it also helps us to actually summarize essentially in the introduction what the rest of the writing is going to be about. Number 4, answers may include but are not limited to despair, dismay and disillusionment. Again, if you've got anything different, please feel free to share it in the comments below. It's good to have a little bit of a discourse, a little bit of a back and forth if you've got any ideas that you're not too sure about. Number 5, a triplet, a group of 3 that has been used is being a parent is expensive, from buying clothes, toys and paying for all the school trips. And our final one, number 6, for the next paragraph the student could write about the following things. So you could talk about the price of holidays. That's normally quite a popular, debatable topic there. The impact on going on holiday during term time and then the impact it has on their children. So the good versus the bad. If it is a narrative though, you have to understand that it's from your personal point of view. Now let's say if you haven't went on a family holiday in a long time, which is understandable, you can make these things up. Okay, so it should have that form of a narrative going through it though. You should say, you know, I felt really bad taking them out during term time. I was worried they were going to miss out on it. Or you could say, you know, I feel like it was vital to take them out during this time. Really, at the end of the academic year, are they really learning that much? And are they actually getting more from the cultural understanding they get if they went and travelled abroad and saw a new place and a new environment? And then the other one could be potentially the best or worst holiday they went on with their family. So again, these are all just ideas. If you've got anything different that you'd like to share, please leave them in the comments below as well. Additional task. So look at the writing question and attempt the challenges that follow. So this is the original writing task that the student was given, and we've obviously been through his response. So the writing task says then, write a narrative to describe a difficult situation that you have overcome. In your response, you should write in the form of a narrative, explain clearly what the problem is, write in clear sequence paragraphs, have a good standard of SPAG, that's spelling, grammar and punctuation if you're not sure, and use a range of language techniques to support your writing. Now this last one, this could just include things like using your appropriate adjectives. If you know your De Forest techniques, that'll be absolutely fantastic as well. And these are key techniques that you can use right up until GCSE or even A level for your writing as well. So if you are going to have a go at this question, the first thing to do would be to identify the TAP of the exam question. If you're not too sure what we mean by that, it's the topic, the audience, and the purpose. And that's going to help you to narrow down specifically what you're writing about, who you're writing it to, and the whole purpose of your writing in the first place. Next, look back at the student response and identify one thing that worked well and one thing that you could improve upon. Again, you can then use this response to structure your own writing and to maybe use some of the ideas in the introduction, because it wasn't all bad. There were some good ideas in there, I would say. A mega challenge: write your response to the question and submit it for marking and feedback. So if you are on a full-time or part-time functional skills course, then that's great. You could give this to your teacher or your tutor to mark. However, if you want that extra feedback, please feel free to get in touch. I'm happy to mark anything, give you a bit of feedback, and hope you kind of develop and improve these skills. Also, if you're struggling to think about how to write a narrative, please do check out our other video that goes into it in more depth, looking at things like your organisational features and the tone and things like that. Anything to make you feel comfortable and confident about this style of writing. In terms of our next lesson, we're going to go over the following things. So we're going to recall the writing question from this lesson, use that to recap some of our knowledge, going to understand how to craft an effective response, and then finally you'd apply your understanding to draft and edit your own response to the exam question. So it's really important that you keep developing your writing, you keep coming back, improving it, and seeing if you can make that improvement towards the actual exam date. Now, if you need any additional support or help, then new videos will be added every single week. Alternatively, you can leave us a comment below or visit our partner channel Bookworm Teaching for more lessons and guidance on all things English. Thanks ever so much for listening, guys, and all the best with your work and revision in the future. Bye bye.